Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, Larry W. Brooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, Larry W. Brooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we have over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
To the Prime Real Estate Network Live. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here this week with you on Prime Real Estate Network Live. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody checking us out live on YouTube and Facebook. Get involved in today's show. You can leave myself or the Texas Real Estate King a relevant real estate question in the comments section. And you never know, you may very well get your question answered on today's show. Hey man, it's a great day to be in real estate. We're coming to you live from the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center here in Clutch City, Texas. I want to take a little time to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he's a multi-time author. He's a serial entrepreneur and a proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network Live, and I'd like to introduce the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. What's going on?
What up, Rick? Seems like it's been too long, man. When we take those slight breaks or slight modifications, man, it comes back, seems a little different.
I know, man. Look, it's funny because we picked a great day to go live this week, man. It's always a beautiful day in the city when the Houston Rockets decide to stand up and defend the city's honor on TV, man, in the NBA playoffs. Yeah. Larry, man, I'm going to ask you this. It's funny because they talk about how when the Rockets and the Warriors play, for whatever reason, we don't never beat them dudes, but it seemed like such a rivalry. Yeah. So this Rockets and Warriors thing, man, the Houston sports scene, especially in the springtime with the weather, what kind of mood? How does the city feel when it's playoff time in the city and everything is going and it's spring and it's warming up and the sun is out, man? What's been going on with you?
Hey, man, when it gets tight, we're a sports city, man. We enjoy winning. We had some successes. And so when I was getting a cut earlier, man, just talking to my barber, he had an opportunity to go to the playoff game last night. And he said, the city was out. Yeah, he said the city was out. He said it took him to 1 o'clock to get home just because of sitting in traffic. So that just says a lot about how we feel about this year's team and how we really feel like they can get us over the hill into the second round of the playoffs. So we 1-1. And so, listen, we ready to see what it do.
Oh, no, it's funny, man, because while we are giving shots out, you're right. I want to give a huge shout out to the parking staff over at NRG Stadium last night. Look, anyone who's had the pleasure of visiting the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center at 2600 South Loop West here in Houston, Texas, understands our proximity to NRG Stadium. I had the honor and the pleasure to attend the Kendrick Lamar concert last night, man. I want to give huge kudos to the parking staff, everybody at the Blue Lot. They had their thing together, man. It was expedited. It was efficient, man. You could pay your money, get in and get out. So, look, man, it's good to live in a city that know how to handle big events. 100%. And that staff over at NRG Stadium, they host Super Bowls and everything. So last night in the city was definitely up. And it was a huge night and great time to be in the city of Houston, man.
No doubt. Yes, sir.
Hey, look, man, today's episode is one of those episodes that I want to make sure we give everyone in the audience opportunity to share with everyone that they know in the real estate sphere. We always ask everyone to like, the show, share the show, subscribe to the channel. But today's episode, it is paramount because I want to announce that it is officially a buyer's market in real estate.
Okay.
You may not, Mr. Brooks, those in the real estate sphere may not have heard that particular message in popular media or on social media. But as people who are out here with boots on the ground, working with buyers and sellers every day, I'm here to let everyone know, if you were waiting for the market to transition, it has. If you've been on the sideline waiting for that right opportunity to invest in real estate, buy your first home, the time is now. And today's guest is a foremost expert in the lending sphere. And Larry, could you share a little bit about our business relationship with this week's guest and how we were able to gain this commitment on sitting in on the show this week?
Yeah, man. Here's the thing. You know, when you build out partnerships, you want partnerships that actually work. They don't only feel like success, they movements, the opportunities. You work together, you do things like that. And so today's guest, man, Brooks and Davis, Michael in particular, had a great opportunity to really build this relationship. I know several of our agents inside here, several of our teams have worked with this mortgage company and our partnership with them in the past. So just excited to have him on front of the platform today to talk about some new ventures that's taking place, some new opportunity for buyers agents out there that are looking to grow their business and things like that. And even to point out, as you were saying, you know, I was listening to Mike on a call earlier today, and he was talking about the percentage of properties that not busted out, but that people just kind of left the contracts on, right? When everything got iffy in the market, they decided that, you know what, hey, we're going to get out of this home right now, get out of this situation at home, which again, I think contributed to the opportunity of being such a strong buyer's market, as you stated. So let's get it going, man.
Hey, look, man, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. This fine gentleman is the Chief Executive Officer of Apex Mortgage Group Incorporated. I want to thank him so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network Live, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Keith Webster. How you doing, Keith?
What's going on, gentlemen? It's always good to be. It's like being with family every time I connect with you all. You know, thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate it, man, Keith. The reason why I was so excited when Larry let us know that you had committed to sitting in with us is because one of the things that we like to do with this platform is to not only spotlight and project truth and reality on the real estate sphere, but at the same time dispel myths. And a lot of times, especially in the real estate space, people always talk about renting versus buying, and they make those that are potentially looking to get involved in the real estate sphere adversaries from that standpoint. The reason why I love having you on the show, Keith, is because with your organization and the things that you offer, you can take care of anyone, regardless of where they see their investing journey going in the next 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. So for those in our audience, Keith, that are meeting you for the first time, please take a little time to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Apex, and talk about foundationally what it is that you guys provide to the real estate sphere.
All right. Again, my name is Keith Webster. I am the CEO. Titles mean little to me, but people have allowed me to be the leader of this organization. I've been in the business for 30 years. I failed my way to success. At this point in my career, I say I get paid to think more than I get paid to work. So for me, that's an accomplishment. Apex Mortgage, our objective is to make sure that we holster our partners and our coworkers and the public and the community a wide net array of products to be able to build wealth through home ownership. We also dabble within the commercial space as well, making sure that we have humble, hungry, and smart colleagues and people that work within Apex who understand the market as professionals, who can bring solutions to almost any situation that comes or put people on the right track for that solution. We're always looking for the next thing. We're never working in yesterday. We're always present in the now. And so what's next, what's going to help move our economy, our communities into the next now, we're always working on those next products and next solutions.
You know, Keith, the great thing about having you on is that, like you say, not only are you a business owner, entrepreneur, but you are also a business leader.
Yes, sir.
The responsibilities that come along with your title. when you, as a lending professional, financial expert, hear that it is now a buyer's market? What type of opportunities, what type of possibilities does that present for those aspiring homeowners, aspiring investors who want to start to build generational wealth?
Well, let's first identify what makes a market a buyer's market, right? A buyer's market versus a seller's market is all about supply versus demand. Okay. How much supply is on the market compared to how much demand is on the market. And when you have a seller's market, you have a low level of supply, which creates leverage for the seller to dictate price. When you have a larger level or amount of supply, competition is there, right? So it allows the buyer to be able to negotiate price. So I would say we've been in a buyer's market for at least the last 3 quarters, actually. For you to officially come out and say it is leadership, right? Let's identify and let's let people know that everyone that you listen to on the news or family and friends aren't always qualified to tell you what type of market we're in. You can't make that decision based on emotions. We make those decisions based on data, right? So it's always a right time to buy, regardless of what market you're in. Now, I'm going to explain that. The mortgage industry, which is real estate, okay? The real estate industry is 25% of the economy, United States economy. It's the cornerstone of the economy, right? So why is that? Well, many reasons we can talk about, but we only have a select amount of time. But the key reason is the ability to be able to build wealth through home equity, right? Your job isn't necessarily going to be in a position to always afford to give you a raise or have the will to do that, but you can make decisions in your life that gives you and your family a raise or to break a generational curse of wealth quickly. Every war that has been fought known to mankind has been fought over land. There's only so much land that exists in this world, right? So when you are a landowner, a homeowner, and other people are in demand of that same land which you have invested in, the price of that land over time goes up, right? And as the price of the land goes up and your balance on what you own the land goes down, you expand what's called equity, right? And the access, giving you the access to that equity is what we consider ourselves to be experts in, right? How can I access that equity prior to having to sell my home to be able to leverage more money and income into my household, to be able to make other decisions that drive more income and more wealth for generations to come?
That is great, man. It's just, I appreciate you being so transparent with our audience because sometimes there are so many thought leaders, especially in the social media space, that some of the messages can start to get mixed, can get construed, and people sometimes can just have differing opinions. And as a consumer, you don't know which side of the line to lean towards.
Right,
So,
right.
one of the things that I think your organization has been at the forefront is providing options for those who may feel like their options are limited.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, Keith, could you speak to some of the programs that you have that have help people to exceed their own expectations, to make homeowners out of possible renters, those who thought they were only in a position to rent, and you were actually able to put them in a position to actually buy? Because I think this is those type of programs that I think so few people know about, that is actually a game changer, especially in this current market.
Everything about lending is cornered in risk. How risky is it for us to provide a certain amount of money based on a property versus the ability for somebody to pay that money back? And assessing that risk in the mortgage industry are through guidelines, right? And so in the typical GSEs, which be government-sponsored entities, you would know as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA for HUD, right? Those guidelines that exist on those platforms are typically in most lenders watered down to make sure that the risk is lessened. And that's what you would call overlays, right? So where FHA will go down to a 580 credit score with 3.5% down, you'll see a lot of your lender relationships stopping it at 620 or 640, right? And we go hand in hand with the guidelines of the GSEs. So FHA, Fannie, HUD, right? We also, and those are called qualified mortgages since 2010, right? The loans that do not require the same compliance in the secondary market as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and HUD, those strict compliance on debt to income ratios and other things, we have to have an outlet for unique situations, and those are called non-QM or non-qualified mortgage loans. Back in the past, we called it subprime, right? Subprime in today's market had a dirty stench to it because of 2008 crash, but it's the similar thing. We want to make sure that for every life situation that someone has, that we have the ability without judgment to apply at a responsible risk set scenario, right? And one of the first things that we can do at Apex Mortgage is to make sure that we don't have a number of overlays, right? That our evaluation on risk when it comes to being hand in hand with Fannie, Freddie, HUD guidelines are through the setup of a loan and the practice of how we address the expectations when we're going into a loan responsibly, right? Those mistakes that are made on the front end of the loan tend to bite you on the back end of the loan. And in lazy practice, to most quote unquote professionals in the business, they tend to just throw the answer of raising the credit score requirement or raising or putting layers of risk on top of the guidelines. We tend to believe that if we address as a professional in conversation up front, setting someone up for success when it comes to the reserves, when it comes to the responsibilities that they have as a buyer, people are going to behave based on what they believe. So you need to address people you need to identify their belief system when it comes to fiscal literacy. And then you need to address that with a new belief system that gets them to behave differently going forward in a loan, giving them a better chance of success. So that has worked for us over the years. So certain products, of course, that you say that you're asking me to mention, I can go on and on and on with this, but all of us know about, I can't take claim for these products, but DSCR loans, home equity line of credit, non-warrantable condos, foreign national, you go on and on, bridge loans, right? Tiny homes, okay? We have gentrification issues across the country. We want to make sure that we're bringing a solution for gentrification. We want to identify the issues, problems, hurdles that are going on in different communities, because every community you can't do a broad stroke with. There are different issues going on across the country in different communities. We want to identify and understand what those issues are, talk to community leaders about those issues, talk to the leaders that are around in different organizations helping to contribute to solutions, and then help bring the solution to that particular demographic or area or geographic area. So saying that, and one of the reasons I'm coming to visit you all actually next week, and one of the main key factors that I'm bringing as a solution to some of these situations is we went hand in hand with a Native American tribe to bring forth a product that we call the Legacy Dream Builder product. Okay, the Legacy Dream Builder product is a earned equity product. People will first think about it as a lease purchase or lease to own. It is not, right? We all know also in Texas, you have special rules when it comes down to lease purchase products. So, if we're already closing loans in Texas with this product, it is not a lease purchase product. What it is, in essence, is when we find ourselves addressing potential home buyers and turning them down for reasons that is, quote unquote, not right now. You have a debt to income ratio problem, your seasoning on your bankruptcy is not quite there, or different guideline issues that allows or makes the lender or loan officer ask you to wait a certain amount of time before we give you a pre-qualification letter. Well, waiting, as you said, the right time to buy is now. When you make someone wait, the price of that same home is going to be more later than it is now. So the affordability of your dream, right, becomes more out of reach the more you wait, right? So we want to put people in a position where they have the opportunity to lock in on a particular property that they're interested in now, and not have to delay that gratification too much. So what we have in line, Native American tribes are afforded under the Constitution different inalienable rights that normal citizens don't have, such as with FHA. With FHA, a tribe can do as many FHA loans as they want to do. With a particular individual, you can only have one at a time, right? And there are other, things that the tribes are afforded as well. So, it very intelligent way, the tribe goes to FHA on a handshake and puts together a program that's FHA approved for them to actually take a potential home buyer that's not quite there, make them a leasee in relationship with the tribe based on certain specified guidelines that are responsible to approve them under, and then allows that individual to go out and find a contract on a home of their dream, the same way they normally would in the process. But once we secure the contract, that contract is then assigned to the Native American tribe. And the tribe takes over the contract and buys the house on behalf of that borrower. Okay. Now, the borrower has to have skin in the game. This is not a product for someone who needs down payment assistance program or who doesn't have money saved. This is someone who has their finances together, but something in their credit or guidelines or other areas are not quite there. So the money that's necessary to purchase under FHA guidelines, the leasee or our client has to deposit that money into the escrow account of the title company, okay, to secure it for the purchase for the tribe. Because we all know the tribe is not going to use tribal money to purchase someone's house, okay? Right. Nor can you use a down payment assistance program because the tribe is actually the borrower. Right. Now, here's the blessing in all of this. Day one of the closing, our leasee has full access to all of the equity. The equity belongs to them. Day one. And that's one of the major reasons for building wealth through home equity, which is the purchase of the property in the equity, right? So giving the client the full access to the equity the day one that the lease is signed and giving them 10 years to buy the house from the tribe, okay, is more than reasonable. Right? Yeah. And then, of course, there are more benefits to it. I don't want to suck up all the air out of everything.
No, that is outstanding, man. And I thank you so much for being able to expound and give our audience an idea of the entire process. Because, a lot of times people will give you the highlights,
right?
But still not enough for somebody to feel like if it makes sense for them.
Exactly.
And I think you did an outstanding job of illustrating the entire journey and also showing the value and benefits. I thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Rick.
I wanted to ask you this, Keith, because Larry and I talk about a lot, especially on this show, about diversity in the entrepreneurial space, diversity in the real estate industry, how Larry is seeing the diversity percentages change so much, especially here locally in the real estate sphere in the 20 plus years that he's been involved. When you first introduced yourself, you said that you introduced yourself and told us that you've been in lending for over 30 years. From
29, pushing 30, 29 years.
Oh, excuse me, nearly 30. Yeah. But in the amount of time that you've been in lending, Keith, could you talk about how you've seen diversity, how some of maybe intentional initiatives, some things that may just be through example or mentorship? How has that been looking in the lending industry in your experience, and how has that evolved?
To be quite honest with you, Rick, I'm saddened by it.
Wow.
We're talking about the same things today that we were talking in our groups on the college campus, right? A lot of the same issues. In some areas, of course, there has been improvement. I think there's a natural, organic improvement as the youth become more knowledgeable and grow older into positions. The older generations start to fade away. I'm not that patient to want to wait that long, right? We have seen in the Latino demographic, and give kudos to them, over the last 10 years, the average national home ownership for white America has been 73%. It was that the Latino home ownership ratio was 44, 45%, and now it's carrying a 51% ratio. So great job to, trade organizations like NAREP for that. But in the African-American demographic, we are still hovering at the 43% ratio. And in certain pockets throughout the country, I see a carryover from history into today's market of generational curses of fiscal literacy, right? Mainly in the Southeast, a very heavy FHA market. When it comes to diversity in the workspace, we have seen a slight improvement when it comes to women in leadership positions. I'm proud to say that and happy to see it. But when it comes to the old guard, the 1980s 55-year-old white male is pretty much still running the industry on the lending side. But you see a lot of strong push to break through those ceilings and those doors. But you see a push back not to hand over the baton. And in the political arena, it's not making it any easier because you can see evidence of that also in the political arena as well, right? So it's, in my opinion, the responsibility of those of us of color and those of us who, whether you're white, black, or indifferent, but have the heart for diversity to actually pull others along with you as you've pushed yourself to success. And that's where a lot of my passion is.
Man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you sharing not only your knowledge, but your experience and expertise. A lot of times it's easy to discuss just the nuts and bolts of buying, selling, and investing. But one of the things that Larry and I pride ourselves on with this particular platform is being able to provide some mentorship and inspiration while at the same time access. So, Keith, for the members of our audience that have heard your story, heard your message, and want to become not only a part of your movement, but to learn more about lending and everything that's going on at Apex Mortgage, how can they follow you online? How can they get in contact with you? And how can they schedule a consultation?
Well, let me say this, first of all, I have to admit that one of my weaknesses are knowing all my social media handles. I have a very special professional that works in my organization. His name is Derek Matz. He's my National Director of Marketing. He typically throws all my social media handles around, but I'm going to make it easier for everybody. My direct email is keith@apexmtg.net. That's keith@apexmtg.net. I will also provide my direct cell phone number. Okay. I think I want to do this. 770 area code 310-1360. All right. And I'm going to do that to myself based on pushing myself also to be more disciplined and having my social media handles ready for you. But if you were to look me up, Keith Webster, Apex Mortgage, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on all your social media networks.
And I want to make sure that I volunteer here publicly to our entire audience to work as Mr. Webster's switchboard. So if for whatever reason you can't reach Keith, feel free to call me at 832-928-3963, and I'll make sure I get you plugged in to Mr. Webster.
Thank you so much.
No doubt about it.
I don't know if I'm going to regret what I just did, Rick, right?
Hey, look, I'm going to double down with you, bro. I'm going to double down with you.
All right.
We all in this together, man.
Keith, I know you're coming to town. You're going to be coming to town here soon. Talk to us a little bit more about what we're going to be hosting here for you as well, some of that partnership, because I think that's going to actually touch the bases with a lot of the real estate professionals as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I typically come to see you all at least once a year, sometimes twice, typically around this time. And we would normally do like a Maggiano's type thing. I'm glad to say that, we're going to do a little something different this time. And Shay Dean will have the details for that. But we're hosting this at one of your builders, I believe, locations. And I will be bringing primarily the information for the Legacy Dream Builder, that tribe loan. Right. So we'll be, presenting. I'll be giving a presentation on the tribe loan. I'll be offering the guidelines to the product as well while I'm there. To everybody who attends and leaving for people who can't attend those same guidelines and overview of the tribe. I typically, in our settings, I typically get to a place where there's questions and answers about the market or the state of the industry. And we throw information out on where we are in the industry as well.
Sounds good. We're looking forward to it, man.
That's next Wednesday at noon Central. There it is.
Yep.
There it is. Yeah.
It'll be with the Toll Brothers. So those of you that are in the industry, it's an open invitation, not only to the Brooks and Davis partnerships, but to other realtors out there as well. So we want to make sure that we're giving you that invitation. Come on out. get connected to right resources, and come learn something about a great program that's going to help you be able to do more with your buyers and stuff like that going forward throughout the rest of this year and moving forward. So we invite everyone to come on out.
Hey, Larry.
Yes.
As I'm looking at this flyer, right?
Uh-huh.
You know how many people have made fun of my turtleneck? Like, they say what timeline are you in, brother? I mean, who wears turtlenecks anymore? I like my turtleneck.
Hey, look, you look clean on you, Keith. That's what I can say. I hold on to that photo. You know how we are in this industry. We don't have top photos.
Oh, sentimental.
That's right.
Hey, look, man. Larry and I both want to thank you, Keith, so much for your time. We know how busy you are on Thursdays, man. So we really do appreciate you carving some time out your schedule to sit in with us.
Yes,
I urge everyone in the audience to follow Mr. Webster on all his social media platforms. Tap in with him via email and cell phone. I want to thank you so much, Keith, man. And we can't wait to see you here at the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center sometime next week.
Too blessed to be stressed, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Stronger together always.
100%.
Appreciate it, brother, man. See you soon.
Deuces, guys.
Absolutely. Hey, man, Larry, that was a great show, man. Information, best practices, and some tidbits that we all can add to our utility box, man, to make us better investors, better generational wealth builders, and better real estate professionals, man. So what kind of things did you take from the interviews, Mr. Brooks, man, and what is it that you're excited about as far as the industry currently?
Yeah, man. You know what? I always love it when we find a way to have an opportunity for someone that does want to be a homeowner, to put them in a place where we can help them get the product that they're looking for at the time that they want to, right? It's like Keith said, it's always a good time to be buying into real estate, man. So definitely that product jumps out to me. And I think that it's a vehicle that can definitely help a lot of people out, because I think that home ownership and getting to the predicament where you can gain equity, because there's so many beautiful things that takes place with equity, right? You can take that equity in the future, send your kids out to college if that's one of the things that you want to do, or you can take that equity and pull it out and put yourself in an entrepreneur space, or fund one of your visions or dreams or something like that. So those are the things that we've seen people do with equity over the many years that we've been doing this business. So I just think that, the quicker that you can find yourself in home ownership, the quicker it is that you can level up and get to that space. So definitely home ownership.
I agree totally, man. I want to thank him again for sitting in with us this week. We at that time of the show, Mr. Brooks, where we give everyone in the audience an opportunity to link, tap in, and hang with the Texas Real Estate King. So what you got going this weekend here in the city of Houston, Texas, my brother?
Hey, man, I'm having wishful thinking that all of our sports teams, our football, because, we got a minor league football team here in Houston as well. So I'm giving them a shout out, giving, of course, our Rockets a shout out. I'll be somewhere watching the TV, rooting everybody on. And, of course, those of you that will be visiting the city for whatever conferences that you have, if you decide that you want to stay a little longer and you want to look for some real estate properties, definitely make sure that you reach out to Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, the Prime Real Estate Network, Ric Davis, Larry Brooks. We'd love to assist you in those projects.
Hey, look, man, I want to thank you so much for your time, brother. I know how it is for the Texas Real Estate King on a Thursday. So on behalf of myself, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, and the entire team over at the Prime Real Estate Network Live, we want to thank everyone in the audience. We want to thank Mr. Keith Webster. And until next Thursday at this same time, we hope everyone in the audience can please be safe and be blessed. 100.